I won't stop till I hear him say,
Now, the second phase, this is where it's going to get interesting. Okay. We're going to start to tie in Hedera hashgraph. Now I'm going to show you guys how they are going to instead use Hedera hashgraph over Ethereum. Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX video breakdown. This is going to be an in-depth video breakdown on Hedera hashgraph, and we're going to be talking about and discussing key vocabulary, paying attention to detail, focusing on words like Bank of Korea, private sector, offline payments, open public currency infrastructure, Shenhan Bank, if I'm saying and pronouncing that correctly, and then cross-border remittances. Those are all going to be key vocabularies that are going to tie us in, and I'm going to show you all in today's video breakdown how Hedera hashgraph, in my personal opinion, this is not financial advice, is going to be a major player, distributed ledger technology that helps run this future digital infrastructure, the CBDC-led initiative that's going on. They're not going to flat out tell us that they are using Hedera hashgraph, that they're using Hbar, or they're using this technology, but I'm going to show you guys in documents. I'm going to show you all piecing some fundamentals together that were shared to us by the some of the CYPRX advanced research team. So if you guys enjoy video breakdowns like this, smash that thumbs up button. This is going to be an in-depth deep dive, reading some documents, piecing parts of the puzzle together. So stick around for it, okay? Very interesting. So we're going to start all the way back in 2021, right? 2 years ago. And this article goes on to say, Bank of Korea selects provider for CBDC blockchain simulations. Now, a lot of this is going to have to do with what's floating around the mainstream influential space right now. I really want you guys to see how well structured and well organized these elite individuals are as to how they place their vocabulary. Okay, you got to be able to pick up on this stuff if you're going to be a researcher. So check this out. July 20th, 2021. Remember, time is everything when we're reading these documents. So this article came out 2021. Watch the progression and what it is that these individuals say. Okay, it goes on to say, today, the winner of the Bank of Korea, that's important, highlighted in purple for you guys, so we can come back to that, Central Bank Digital Currency CBDC currency tender was announced as GroundX, the company that founded the Clayton Public Permission blockchain. GroundX is a blockchain subsidiary of Kakao, hopefully I'm pronouncing these words right, Korea's largest social network. The company will work with other subsidiaries, Kakao Pay and Kakao Bank, on the CBDC simulation for the digital won, with a budget of up to 4.96 billion won, or 4.4 million US dollars. In terms of technology, the Clayton blockchain created by GroundX is derived, this is important, from Ethereum. This is massive right here, okay? This is going to start to lead us down the rabbit hole. So this GroundX platform that they're talking about is derived from Ethereum, okay? This is all irrelevant, and it was all just a test. So it goes on to say, GroundX recently partnered with Ethereum, developed House consensus to build a private blockchain for the CBDC network. I'm going to show you guys how they are not going to use Ethereum. They're going to be using more advanced technology. They even tell you in their PDFs and in their documentation, like Hedera hashgraph, okay? Through vocabulary and then through actually mentioning Hedera hashgraph. So remember right here, this GroundX chosen today, the winner of the Bank of Korea Central Bank Digital Currency, blah, 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 was announced to be GroundX, and they're derived from Ethereum. All right, so let's move on. This article comes out November 7th, 2022. Remember, this is now after 2021, July, okay? So Bank of Korea finds performance issues with CBDC blockchain technology. Well, remember the technology that was chosen to run the CBDC simulations? It was Ethereum on GroundX, right? Starting to piece the breadcrumbs together. So the Bank of Korea completed the second phase of its retail central bank digital currency simulation in late June, and today shared the results. While it was happy with some aspects of its digital won simulation, such as using CBDCs for offline payments, this is going to be an important word right here, so we'll come back to that, and cross-border remittances, I highlight that as well, actually, as a matter of fact, because that's important too. Okay, the central bank highlighted performance issues with blockchain technology. Again, what is Hedera hashgraph? Not a blockchain technology. It is distributed ledger technology, not blockchain tech. Okay, pay attention. Specifically, it found the overall performance of Ethereum-based blockchain insufficient, including the scaling solutions and privacy technology, that was tested. Now, I want to pause right there for just 1 second, and I want to take your attention to an interview that Kitco News did 8 months ago with Mance Harmon. Pay attention to what Mance Harmon here has to say.
On top of us. And why Hedera? Why can't it be built on Bitcoin or Ethereum? A couple of reasons. One, those platforms are extremely inefficient when it comes to energy consumption and usage. And the reason they're inefficient is because of the underlying technology. It makes it really expensive and unpredictable to use those platforms if you're building an application. If you're building an application as a developer, you're building a business, you need to be able to model what your cost of goods is going to be, your cost of the product. When it comes to those old school tech, like Ethereum, it's impossible to know how much it's going to cost to use the network because of the fluctuation in the token price. We've come so far that we're calling Ethereum old school tech.
Alrighty, I'll just go ahead and leave it there. He literally called Ethereum old school technology. But check this out, okay? It's not just him saying that. So the Bank of Korea deemed that Ethereum-based blockchain technology is insufficient, including the scaling solutions and privacy technology that was tested. So it's not just Mance Harmon making this up. Like, they tested this and they came to the conclusion that it is insufficient, especially with blockchain technology, right? So moving on, it goes on to say down here, as previously reported, the central bank selected GroundX as its primary technology partner for the simulations. However, GroundX was based on Ethereum's technology, and it goes on to say that it was insufficient, okay? Now, the second phase, this is where it's going to get interesting, okay? We're going to start to tie in Hedera hashgraph now. I'm going to show you guys how they are going to instead use Hedera hashgraph over Ethereum. So it goes on to say, now the second phase of simulations is complete. The central bank has started working with 14 commercial banks and the Korea Financial Telecommunications and Clearing Institute, the KFTC. The banks are Koopman, Shinhan, and it goes on to name the rest. Those are irrelevant for right now. We're going to focus on Shinhan. I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. So before we jump off of here, remember, we have the specific vocabulary terms: cross-border remittances, offline payments, the Bank of Korea so far, okay? Pay attention, those are all going to play an important role. So we're going to come over here to Hedera.com. We have Shinhan Bank. And then too, before we read this, remember, we've already deemed, based off of tests that these central banks have conducted, that Ethereum and blockchain technology is insufficient. It's outdated tech. It's not going to work, okay? Shinhan Bank goes on to say, partnered with Hedera hashgraph, November 29, 2021. The leading bank in South Korea today announced that it has completed the development of a proof of concept with global mega bank outside of Korea, built on the Hedera network, leveraging stablecoins and focused on international remittances. What do we see right here? Cross-border remittances, okay? Offline payments hasn't come into the mix just yet, all right? So moving on, we'll go on to say, under the current financial system, when individuals or organizations send cross-border transfers, the customer bears high intermediary bank costs for cross-border transfers between countries that lack liquidity and a direct network. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Coming down here, I want to take your attention to where it says, Shinhan Bank is a leader in leveraging distributed ledger technology, DLT, to drive financial innovation. Now, again, remember, in phase 2, the second phase of this central bank digital currency simulation, who was involved in this? Shinhan Bank. Well, what is Shinhan Bank doing? They are partnered with Hedera hashgraph. So officials at Shinhan Bank said, joining the Hedera Governing Council this spring allowed us to significantly accelerate our engagement with other global industry leaders to leverage the power of Hedera's fast, fair, green public distributed ledger, cost-effective, efficient international remittances. Again, what's being tested on phase 2 of these simulations? Who's a part of these tests? Shinhan Bank, who's also partnered with Hedera hashgraph to use Hedera hashgraph for efficient international remittances. Do you guys see the vocabulary correlation? Okay. What's being tested? Cross-border remittances, right? So you start to see how Hedera hashgraph is playing a role. Let's head back to this document right here. The first fundamental mentions offline payments. The second document also mentions offline payments. To tie this into Hedera hashgraph and some information that has just recently surfaced to the mainstream influencer that's out there on the YouTube space, Twitter space, is Hedera's partnership with IDEMIA Group. I hope that I'm pronouncing that right. IDEMIA Group, right? Now, IDEMIA Group, what is their focus? Secure offline CBDC wallets, bringing the power of central bank digital currencies to everyone through offline usage. Right? And who are they partnered with? Again, Hedera hashgraph. What do they mention on these fundamentals right here? Offline payments. Offline payments. Who tested this? Who's in this second phase of the simulation? Shinhan Bank. Who are they partnered with? Hedera hashgraph. Do you guys see the connections, right? They're not going to just come out and blatantly say, oh yeah, we're using Hedera hashgraph. We're using the tech. No, you're going to have to piece it together. If that's not enough for you, let's move on. All right. So let's go back to a tweet that I put out to you guys. Okay. Before I even get into the B.I.S documents real fast, I tweeted this out to you guys on the beginning of March, the 3rd, 2023. I said, for technology innovation to flourish in our payment system, it requires a stable foundation that unleashes the private sector's creativity and ingenuity. Now, this was a direct quote from August Carstens, the general manager of the B.I.S, right? So listen to this real fast before we get into the documents.
Crucial for the successful adoption and migration of our payment infrastructure over to blockchain technology. Check out what Andrew Carstens, head of the Bank of International Settlements, has to say about that.
First, for innovation to flourish, it requires a stable and safe infrastructure that unleashes the private sector's creativity and ingenuity.
He literally said, a stable foundation that unleashes the private sector's creativity and ingenuity. So with that being said, again, August Carstens, general manager of the B.I.S, let's head over here. Now, remember the key vocabulary I told you guys to mention. It started with the Bank of Korea, right? Well, if we come over here to a B.I.S document and we scroll up to the top of this document, the Bank of Korea's CBDC research, this PDF from the BIS.org, if we scroll down here to page 6, it goes on to say, for a CBDC to effectively respond to the threat of big tech, it should be designed and operated as an open public currency infrastructure. Remember that word? That was a key vocab word that I introduced to you at the beginning. For this, participation of a broad range of stakeholders and interoperability will be important, and effective division of roles between the central bank and private sector is required. We'll pause right there. Open public currency infrastructure. I want to take your attention back to the interview with Mance Harmon on KitGo News, and we'll go to 1 minute and 53 seconds where Mance Harmon mentions something about Hedera hashgraph really fast.
Rio, technology stack, and future economy. Hedera is one of those types of global public networks. It uses something called hashgraph.
Hedera is one of those types of global public networks. So when he said that to me, I was sitting there thinking to myself about the research that I've done on Hedera hashgraph and how they mentioned in this BIS document in correlation with the Korean Central Bank, right? An open public currency infrastructure. Well, I remember a note that I wrote down about Hedera hashgraph way back when I started studying it. Here it is right here. Hedera hashgraph can be considered a public infrastructure that supports a digital currency, which is Hbar. Hbar is used to pay for transaction fees on the network and can also be used as a medium of exchange, so that, in a sense, Hedera hashgraph does provide a public currency infrastructure. So again, straight from the BIS document, talks about an open public currency infrastructure, and you guys heard Mance Harmon, what he said, being that global public network, okay? So the vocabulary is correlated alongside this being part of, if we scroll up to the top again, the Bank of Korea's CBDC research. Now moving on, in this document, it talks about the private sector, the collaboration with the public sector. This is a document directly from the imfconnect.org, okay? And on page 1, right here, it says, the Bank of Thailand, now this is a whole nother ballgame and rabbit hole that we can go down, but this is where it mentions CBDCs, it mentions Hedera hashgraph and advanced technology. Again, blockchain technology, insufficient, okay? Ethereum, insufficient, right? So we come over here, IMF PDF, and it says, the Bank of Thailand has developed a wholesale CBDC-based prototype for interbank settlements with 8 commercial banks. China's State Administration of Foreign Exchange is reportedly working with the I'm going to butcher this one, Zhangshao credit card industry development to build a blockchain-based cross-border trade finance platform. Also, this is where it gets interesting, also a number of new private sector cross-border payment networks were launched. And it goes on to say, look down at table 1. So if we scroll down here, okay, we go to page 7, and at the bottom, it goes on to say right here, before adoption happens on a large scale, blockchain transactions must become more scalable and efficient. New breakthrough technologies seem to be on the verge of delivering just that. And it says, for example, Hedera hashgraph. Right? Talks about the private sector, talks about Hedera hashgraph in the same PDF. Back to the central bank PDF. Okay. This is the last PDF that I have for you all where they mention the correlation with the collaboration with the private sector. And it says right here on page 3, based on 3 principles, there is a considerable common ground amongst the central banks in this group on the core features of any future CBDC system. It says right here, furthermore, the CBDC system should have an appropriate role for the private sector and be set up to promote competition and innovation. So do you guys see how overall Hedera hashgraph in some way, shape, or form is about to be integrated with this whole new CBDC infrastructure? It talks about the second phase of the Bank of Korea completing the simulation with their CBDC, cross-border remittances, offline payments. Again, who are they connected with? One of the biggest banks, Shinhan Bank. What is Shinhan Bank using Hedera hashgraph for? Do you guys see efficient international remittances right here, right? What is Hedera hashgraph also recently announced? Their partnership with IDEMIA, the IDEMIA group. Hopefully I'm not butchering that one. And what is their solution to take care of offline CBDC wallets? Do you guys see? I'm not making this stuff up. It's interconnected. It's integrated. Mance Harmon has publicly stated that Ethereum tech is outdated. What are they saying right here in the test for central bank digital currencies? The same exact thing. It's not like people will go out and be like, oh no, no, it's not. Ethereum's great. No, they're literally telling you right here, okay? The central bank highlighted the performance issues, saying that Ethereum-based blockchain technology is insufficient, okay? Blessings to you guys all. Take with, with what I say with a grain of salt. You guys can either utilize it or disregard it. Information that I thought that I bring to the light. I've seen a lot of this coverage on this topic right here. So I thought that I kind of connect things for you guys from my perspective. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and buy Hbar. I'm not going out there and saying, Hedera hashgraph is going to be the chosen one. I know what it is that I'm doing as a digital asset investor, diversifying my portfolio. You guys take it upon yourselves to do your own personal research, be cognizant, be aware out there. Many blessings. If you guys enjoyed this content, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe. And I do appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video breakdown.
I won't stop till I hear him say